Today we are going to work on the distributive property and combining like terms. So this paper was in your packet that we sent home either last week or the week before. Go ahead and take it out and pause the video so you can cut it out and glue it into your notebook on the next set of clean pages. If you don't have it, pause the video, go back into the module, and it should be there for you to print. So you should have by now this cut, printed, and glued in. Printed, cut, and glued in. We already know what the distributive property is. Remember, that is when we have a number on the outside and we have an expression inside parentheses. To distribute means that we are going to multiply that outside number times both of those things inside the parentheses. So this becomes a times x plus a times b. That's my answer. So we're going to apply that when we are combining like terms. Yesterday we talked about combining like terms. Today we're going to do it with the distributive property. So my first example, 4 parentheses d plus 2. I'm going to take it and I'm going to do 4 times d and 4 times 2. Well, 4 times d I can't combine because they're not like terms, so it becomes 4d. And 4 times 2 is 8, so I have a plus 8. Now I have parentheses u minus 3 for number 2, close parentheses, times 2. Now remember, it doesn't matter if it's in the front of the parentheses or if it's behind the parentheses. We still do it first and then second. 2 times u is 2u. And then I have my subtraction sign. 2 times 3 is 6. That's my final answer. This third one looks a little different because I have a negative 6 that I'm distributing. And you know it's negative because it's outside the parentheses, outside of this term, these terms, but it's also in its own parentheses to show me that my 6 and my negative are joined together. So I'm going to take my entire negative 6, multiply it by f, and then multiply it by 5. Negative 6 times f is negative 6f. Then I'm going to bring my plus sign over. We can't forget about that plus sign. Now I'm going to do negative 6 times 5. Well, 6 times 5 is 30, but a negative times a positive is a negative. Well, we can simplify this even one more time. I have negative 6f plus a negative 30. I can't have double the sign, so I need to simplify that. If I'm adding a negative, that is the same as subtracting a positive. So negative 6f minus a positive 30 is my final answer. Example number 4, 10 times c minus 10 times 9. Well, 10 times c is 10c, and I'm going to minus or subtract whatever 10 times 9 is, which is 90. Negative 2, it's an entire negative 2. I'm multiplying it by n, and I'm multiplying it by an 8. Negative 2 times n is negative 2n, and I have my subtraction sign. Negative 2 times 8 is a negative 16. Well, I have negative 2n minus negative 16. Again, we can't have the double signs. Minus a negative, remember, keep, change, opposite, is the same as plus a positive. So if I rewrite it, negative 2n plus 16 is my final answer. In this last example, I'm distributing another negative, but this time I have a negative x. Negative 3 times negative x. Well, I know that it's 3x, but because 3 times x is 3x. But I have a negative sign times a negative. When the signs are the same and I'm multiplying or dividing, my sign is always going to be positive. So this 3x is going to stay a positive 3x. I move my subtraction sign, and now I do negative 3 times a positive 1. Negative 3 times a positive 1 is a negative 3. Just as I did in my last example, I could not have a minus a negative, so it becomes a plus a positive. So my final answer is 3x plus 3.